Seeing as though Judge Judy is such an iconic intellectual, having graduated from New York Law School with her Juris Doctor degree, I can safely assume that she must have read Hamlet at some point in her life, whether it be in grade school or by her own free will. I can also safely assume that she must have had some pretty extreme opinions regarding some of the more outlandish scenes in the play. When I think Judge Judy, I immediately think of her ruthless wit and her outspoken reactions towards the legal situations presented to her. If you were to try to cry on her shoulder, you'd probably be rudely awakened by thorns stabbing your cheeks and then berated for showing emotion and getting her shoulder wet, as this woman has no time for sob stories and unnecessary drama. I have no doubt that she would have torn the Hamlet characters, such as Ophelia, Gertrude, and Hamlet himself, to shreds over many, if not most, of their actions and decisions. Let's start with our sweet, sweet Ophelia. In Act 3, Scene 1, Hamlet gaslights Ophelia and confesses his love turned to loathe for her. He tells her to go to a nunnery because she has lost her purity, and that no respectable or competent man would ever marry her. Ophelia believes that all of the women Hamlet has hurt, she has been hurt the most. I can almost hear Judy screaming, "Baloney!" Judy would interpret the scene as a young naive girl believing that the way Hamlet feels about her is the end-all be-all. Judy would say, "You need to pick yourself up and wipe off your tears. They're not a good look on you. This man is playing with you like a rag doll and you're too oblivious to see it. You think that he has hurt you most of all, but he plays this game with a different woman every week. Why do you care about what he thinks of you when he's a 30-year-old doppelganger for the rat and flushed away with a bad bleach job? Hello, he's practically calling you a whore. Wake up and move on, little girl." Speaking of Act 3, Scene 1, in his famous soliloquy, Hamlet questions whether or not he would be better off dead and free from the shackles of his miserable life. He ponders his options if he were to stay alive, being either deal with the misfortunes that get repeatedly thrown in his path, or do something about them and be the operator of his own life. Judy would reply to this, saying, "You have wasted my time with these 33 lines and 262 words of angst and self-pity. Let's cool it with the dramatics. I get that your father being killed by your uncle, and then your uncle marrying your widowed mother, has forced you into a state of depression. And you are allowed to feel this way, but this is real life. No need to become a philosopher and unpack the value of life. You are going to face challenges, just like every other person. The answer isn't to kill yourself the moment something bad happens. Have a little perspective. You are the Prince of Denmark. You probably have servants dusting the floor before every step you take, and the whole country adores you. Before the death of your father, fortune was fed to you on a silver spoon." Gertrude may be one of Judge Judy's least favorite characters of all. In Act 1, Scene 2, Gertrude beseeches for Hamlet to stop dressing in all black and to stop mourning the loss of his father, since all living things die at some point, and it is just a part of life. She finishes off her invalidating speech by asking why he's having such a hard time getting over this. Judy would be fuming, with steam coming out of her ears like a scorching tea kettle, ready to interrogate the mere existence of Gertrude. She would say, "First of all, marrying your brother-in-law 2 months after your husband dies, that's not normal. That's sick and shameful. Your speed in marrying Claudius leads me to question if you even loved King Hamlet, or if you married him for your own benefit. Second of all, how dare you have the audacity to question your son's length of grievance? You are an airhead if you need to question why your son is so affected by the death of his father. Newsflash, lady, it's because it's his father. I cannot deal with stupid. Not today. Good night." All in all, Judge Judy would most likely only respect Fortinbras in this whole play. She would admire his focus on his duties as king and claiming Denmark the second practically every other character died in a matter of minutes.